Adobe earns a 35% operating margin. It trades at 8 times forward earnings. CrowdStrike loses money, negative 2.2% operating margin. It trades at 117 times. Same sector. Same year. The market is paying 14 times more for the company that doesn't make money. That is not a valuation. That is a verdict. And once you understand what the market is actually voting on, every strange number in software this year snaps into place. I'm Big Z. This is part 1 of 3. Here's the year, and it is not a sell-off. Datadog is up 81.5%. Intuit is down 55.3%. That's a 137 percentage point spread, inside one sector, in 7 months. Palo Alto up 76. Okta up 60. CrowdStrike up 56. Against that, Asana down 50, HubSpot down 49, Atlassian down 46, Salesforce down 38, Adobe down 36, ServiceNow down 35. And here's what kills the risk-off explanation: the S&P was up 8.4% over the same stretch. Nvidia up 11. Money didn't leave the market, or even technology. It left specific software companies and bought others in the same industry. Something is being sorted. The popular answer is category. The most circulated version, a 16Zs, sorts by segment: cybersecurity and observability win, vertical SaaS wins, horizontal SaaS loses, infrastructure and ad tech lose. Software alone is not a moat. Directionally right. As a rule, it fails 3 times, and the failures are where the real answer is. Zscaler is cybersecurity. Down 36.7%. Tyler Technologies is vertical SaaS, government workflows, about as entrenched as software gets. Down 34.5%. That framework also says growth barely correlates with performance. But Atlassian grew revenue 31.7% and lost 46% of its value, while Okta grew 11.2% and gained 60%. Not the category. Not growth. One level deeper. Here's the question the market is really asking. Does your revenue meter count people, or does it count compute? That's it. That's the whole sort. If you bill per seat, AI is a subtraction. Every agent that does a human's work removes a unit you were charging for. Your product can be excellent and your growth can be 30%, the meter still runs backwards. If you bill per unit of compute, storage, query or message, AI is a multiplier. The same agent that deleted a seat somewhere else generates traffic, tokens, and stored data on your platform. The meter runs faster. Everything else, the category, the moat, the AI native narrative, is downstream of that one mechanical fact. Atlassian gave us the cleanest evidence in the entire market this year. In its third quarter report, enterprise seat count declined for the first time in the company's history. Not growth decelerating. Declining. The stock fell 35% on that print. Now hold that against the fundamentals. Atlassian grew revenue 31.7%. 85% gross margins. By any normal software screen it's a winner. It fell 46.4% this year. That is the market saying, out loud, that it no longer believes the unit. Not the product, the unit. And Jira is the most defensible seat in enterprise software, it's where engineering work lives. If that seat can shrink, every softer seat can shrink. Look at who else is metered on headcount and got the same treatment: Salesforce, Workday, HubSpot, Monday.com, Adobe, ServiceNow, Intuit. Down 35 to 55%, every one. Now the other side, and it's the same mechanism inverted. Snowflake doesn't sell seats. It bills compute, storage and data transfer. Last quarter product revenue hit $1.33 billion, up 34%, a 4 percentage point acceleration from the prior quarter. It raised full-year product guidance to $5.84 billion. The mechanism, in the company's own framing: a single Cortex inference pipeline can burn more credits than a traditional database query. 13,600 accounts now use its AI features. Datadog, revenue up 29.2% versus 28% for the quarter before. Also accelerating. Read those two together. In the same 12 months AI made Atlassian's seat count fall for the first time ever, it made Snowflake's consumption accelerate. Same technology. Opposite sign. The only difference is what the invoice counts. There's a third meter, and it explains the strangest stock on the board. Okta grew revenue 11.2%. That is slower than Salesforce, slower than Workday, slower than Adobe, all of which got destroyed. Okta rose 60.2%. Why? Okta meters identities. And an AI agent needs an identity, needs permissions, needs to be audited. Agents don't remove Okta's unit, they add units. Same logic under CrowdStrike and Palo Alto, they meter endpoints and devices, not headcount. You can fire half your staff and still have the same number of machines to defend, more, if you're deploying agents. So the sort isn't 3 categories. It's 3 meters: people, compute, machines. 1 shrinks with AI. 2 grow. A framework you don't stress test is a slogan. 3 hardest cases. Zscaler, down 36.7%, is cybersecurity, supposedly safe. Its problem isn't the meter. It guided fiscal 2027 recurring revenue growth to just 16 to 17%, lost 2 senior sales executives, and fell 31% in a single day on May 28. And AI is raising its capital spending, guided up as much as 200 basis points more as a share of revenue next year. That's the second rule, and it matters as much as the first. For Zscaler, AI is a cost line, not a revenue line. Tyler Technologies, down 34.5%, is vertical SaaS, but it bills contracts and seats to government agencies, and agencies do not add headcount. Its forward multiple compressed to about 25 times from a 5-year average in the mid-40s. Zoom, declared dead first, is up 2%, because it already derated. 3.7 times sales, 14 times earnings. Nothing left to take away. 3 counterexamples, 3 explanations, no exception to the meter rule itself. Back to that opening number, because it means something specific. Profitable software is at levels it hasn't seen in a decade. Adobe at 8.2 times forward earnings with 35% operating margins. Intuit at 10.8 with 47% margins. Salesforce and Oracle both at 10.6. Meanwhile Cloudflare trades at 166 times with a negative 10% operating margin. Snowflake at 100 times, losing 22% at the operating line. CrowdStrike at 117. Software free cash flow multiples are back at 2014 levels. Here's the trade the market is actually making. It will pay almost nothing for cash flow it believes is terminal, and almost anything for a meter it believes compounds. Profitability isn't being rewarded. Durability is, and the market now defines durability as one thing: does AI make your invoice bigger? Now the honest part, because this consensus is crowded. JP Morgan's view, the sell-off has gone too far, AI disruption fears are overblown and rest on, their words, broken logic. There's evidence. Intuit is down 55%, cut 17% of its workforce, roughly 3,000 jobs, and lowered its TurboTax outlook. But QuickBooks Online accounting revenue grew 24% last quarter, against 10.4% company-wide, and the business still throws off about $6 billion of free cash flow. Price and fundamentals have separated. Salesforce's Agentforce recurring revenue grew over 200%. The new thing works, it isn't big enough yet to cover the old thing. And Atlassian's own study found engineer AI usage up 65%, but measured developer velocity gains of only about 10%. Hear both directions on that. It undercuts the panic that agents are replacing developers wholesale, and it undercuts Atlassian's own story about what AI is worth. So here's my call. The bear case on software is right in aggregate and wrong in specifics. AI is a permanent repricing of per seat economics. That's not panic, it's arithmetic. And the industry agrees. An April survey of 300 SaaS chief executives found 97% plan to retire seat-based pricing within 2 years. Survey data, not audited, but that's an admission the unit is broken. Where the market went blunt is the screen. It's sorted by category. The mispricing isn't whether seats are impaired. It's the assumption that a seat-metered company cannot change its meter. And the most dangerous position here isn't a company being replaced by AI. It's a company where AI is a cost line, not a revenue line. Zscaler is the tell. That's the failure mode I'd screen for first. 3 things I'm tracking, each falsifiable within 2 quarters. 1. Seat counts, not revenue. Atlassian broke first. Watch whether Salesforce, Workday, or HubSpot disclose a sequential seat decline. One more confirmation turns a repricing into a re-rating. 2. The mix line. What share of new bookings is usage or hybrid rather than seat? Cross roughly half and the multiple comes back. Still selling seats a year from now and it won't. 3. CapEx as a share of revenue. If AI raises your capital spending faster than your revenue, you're paying for the disruption instead of collecting it. Catalyst, the next 4 earnings cycles, specifically any large cap that guides seats down voluntarily. That resets the whole group again. That was part 1 of 3, the diagnosis. This series is called Software's Great Sorting. Part 2 takes the 5 mega caps this framework condemns and tears them down one at a time: Intuit, Salesforce, Adobe, ServiceNow, Workday, with a verdict on each: value trap, or mispriced. Part 3 asks why building software got radically easier while the software business got harder, and how a US investor owns that when the fastest growing AI applications are all still private. Upstream this flows to compute, the meters that win here bill in tokens and terabytes, the same demand that shows up in semiconductors. Downstream it lands on every enterprise IT budget in America. Part 1 of 3. Follow so Part 2 finds you. I'm Big Z, follow me, see you in the next deep dive.